Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CCL. It's week one of playoffs. We got quarterfinals matchups. I am Patrick Smoke Chambers, joined by Bianca.
Oh my god, I was gonna say Miss Bianca, but yes. Hi guys, welcome back to CCL on the weekly Monday stream. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a long week, but now finally we're back in action for playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was just drinking water.
Horrible timing.
Absolutely. You're fine. Absolutely. Week one of playoffs, we got quarterfinals, we got ETS, we got TMU Blue. I mean, I'll just say it right now. Let's get on to those team cards. Let's reveal what we got going on today. It is going to be our quarterfinals matchup. It is going to be a best of three. And immediately, I mean, I got to say, I have some stats tracked down right now from all these players. I think this is going to be a great matchup. Should be a close matchup. And I could really see this potentially being the first time me and you might have to head to a map
To
three.
a map 3?
Mhm. Mhm,
Ooh.
mhm. I also know maps, but I won't tell you. You'll get those revealed to
Of
you
course,
as we
yes.
as you wait, yeah. I mean, I would say, like, 1 through 10, how you feeling? You know, you excited? Like,
Of
what's going on?
course. This is playoffs. This is the first game of playoffs, so it's a pleasure to be here to cast. And of course, I get to cast with you, which is always a blast. You always do great. So I never really have to worry about anything. And I think I just lagged.
A little
Oh
bit,
my
but that's
god.
okay. We all heard you, the audio was crisp, I'm pretty sure, but regardless,
Hopefully the audio was
I was gonna
crisp,
say, hopefully you
guys.
don't lag for this because you have a little bit of a reveal that you have to do. Am I not forgetting something that you should probably, like, show the stream, or
Wait,
no?
oh
Is
my
it,
god, you're
like,
gonna
way
show
too
the
early?
stream
Is
too?
it way too early? Go
No,
for
I
it.
can show the stream. We're
Go
talking
for it.
about what's on my hands, right? Okay, okay, I had to make sure. Guys, today, right before stream, I did my nails. I don't usually do my nails, but I was just doing them because I'm like, I hate biting my nails. I get like a really bad thing. And so, look, guys, they are cute and sparkly. If the camera, look at that. Oh, yeah, baby.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, we got that on locks. We got both hands. So now when I throw up my threes, oh my God, it's going to be beautiful and sparkly like that. Oh, I love to see it. But that's my little reveal, guys.
Hey, you know what? She's locked. God, what can I say? She's locked. We're all ready to cast. CCL coming up. But yeah, on those team cards, which hopefully get revealed to us in a second. But if not, it's okay. I'm just gonna go over the teams anyway. On the side of ETS, we have Otter, Faco, Forkies, Munchies, and also Flank Sinatra. Sometimes I call it Flank. There we go. Actually, it is going to be Wizify on the roster as well. So he's also on the team. But I tracked down the stats of the other four. So immediately, someone who I want to look out for is Otter. He is the team captain with a 2.1 KD so far, leads in terms of CCL for KD in this matchup. However, what I will say is that is a little bit fabricated because he only played a couple of games, I believe, with maybe a little more than 15 rounds under his belt. I could be wrong. I might have to recheck that one, but because he's 21 in 10, so not too much experience so far, but he's killing it. And if we want to talk about consistency, Faco is someone who you cannot leave out of the conversation. 117 and 62 so far on KD, making him a 1.89 on KD ratio, 16 and 5 on entry as well. Going over to the other side, we have Naj Jogorku, who I just call Jog, Winning, Cash, and Turbo. And this side has a lot to go off of, especially with Jog, your all-star, 1.49 KD with 38 and 16 on entry, 68% cost as well, 2 clutches to boot. But guys, that's not the only thing we have going tonight. Jog also has 170 kills so far in CCL, meaning that he is 170 and 114 on the side of the deaths. If he gets to a third map and puts up on average 10 kills a map, we could have a person with 200 kills and be the first person to join the 200 club in the CCL if we're including playoff games as well. So pretty big stuff, at least to me. That is pretty high stakes. But when I'm looking through all of these teams, the thing that sticks out to me immediately is just the entry numbers, especially from the top two players on each side. We then go ahead and look at Munchies on the other side, who's 19 and 12 on entry. But the entries on the side of TMU are just absolutely insane. I mean, they got Jog, who's 38 and 16, as I pointed out before, and then you got Cash, who's 29 and 17 as well. And as you can see, immediately we're going to go over to Jog and Faco. Fun fact about Faco as well was in the T or FICO, sorry, was in the T2 scene and almost was in contention for T1 at some point. So again, very high level of competition. I know Jog, I was casting him in an XGS matchup versus SSG Academy on Chalet last night. So I'm very well aware, at least, of both of these players. And immediately you see the entry percentage that sticks out. 70% entry success, 76% entry success for FICO, and immediately for FICO, 75% on cost. I mean, that is just absolutely absurd. Three quarters of every round, or at least out of all the rounds, for three quarters of them, he's putting up something, whether it is about kills, objective survival, or trades. Regardless, or traded. Regardless, it's really a difference maker to this ETS side, and it's going to be one hell of a matchup when we get into it.
Oh my gosh, that is insane. Seeing this little pregame report of these players. I believe we're going to be going to the standings now. As for what we're looking at, of course, we're in playoffs, so now the brackets a little bit changed, and it looks like we're going to be going the third matchup on the list, which would be the TMU Blue versus ETS Esports, and then whoever ends up winning this out will end up going against the winner between Windsor Lancers and the University of Waterloo.
Right, I mean, it's top 8. The road isn't gonna get any easier from here. I mean, you win this matchup, congrats. You're now versing either Windsor Lancers or Waterloo. So, I mean, regardless, again, you're going up against that U Windsor team, or you gotta go up against Waterloo and Gug on the other side, who are probably
Oh,
just,
Gug!
I can
I
imagine.
love Gugs.
Let's say Waterloo takes the series against Windsor, they are going to be one of the craziest teams to watch through these playoff scenes just because of how crazy their play style is. That being said, they're not the people who we have to focus on today. We got to focus on ETS. We got to focus on TMU. And I got to say, map bans, I'm assuming, are coming out soon. It's going to be interesting to see who banned out what. And there they
Woo!
are. It is going to be Border as our first matchup, Nighthaven for our second, and if it goes to a third, Chalet. And I really like that we're seeing this, especially on the side of TMU Blue. They ban out that clubhouse pick, and again, I really like to see that because everybody casts Clubhouse. I think I've casted Clubhouse and covered it so many times so far in this CCL season. I'm glad that we're kind of switching it up. And again, Border is kind of a family favorite. Again, a household name, if you will, for North American stocks. But I like that I'm seeing more of Nighthaven, and Chalet is definitely one that I don't believe I've casted yet this season for the CCL. So I'm very excited for that if it goes there.
Ooh. Feel like Chalet is like the top three like basic ones. I mean, before Oregon, now that Oregon's gone, I feel like the basic maps are definitely Club, Chalet, and I want to say Cafe. I feel like those three are probably the most basic. So seeing Chalet as the decider is going to be crazy if it does end up going to map three, because I feel like Chalet is another very kind of like everybody knows the strats, everybody knows the call outs, everybody knows what they have to do. And a lot of the time, it really is coming down to just basically winning your interactions and, not falling short, being able to get the trades out when they matter most. So if it does end up going to map three, I'm glad that it's on Chalet, one of the more like very known. And, a lot of the community is extremely familiar, if not just completely familiar and accustomed to the map itself. But Border to start with, I love Border so much. So I'm glad this is going to be our game one, our map one.
Right. I mean, immediately I go off of the fact that ETS is going to be on the defensive start for Border. Again, Border being a very defensively favored map, at least the history would suggest. And I kind of see this, and I'm thinking for TMU's side, again, this is TMU's map pick. I really want to see how they're going to change it up on the attacking side. Border, like I said before, it is kind of a household name in North American lobbies amongst North American teams. They love their Border. Whereas the reason why I love that we're seeing Chalet is that's not necessarily a map you see in North American all the time. I feel like that's a map that a lot of Brazilian teams really like. So that's why I kind of like the switch up there. But because of the fact that we are on a familiar map such as Border and ETS does end up starting on the defensive side, what are TMU going to do to throw a wrench into their takes in order to kind of spice up this attack a little bit? That's the question that I kind of have.
You know what? I like seeing different strategies. I feel like Border's a map that there's definitely different strategies that come in and out. A lot of times, even something like Oregon. Now that it's not in the map pool, but I can even say Clubhouse. A lot of the strategies just end up being the same stuff, and everybody does the same strategies. Border is one of the maps, even something like Consulate, where not everybody is doing the same thing. Not every single team is doing the same defensive lineups, offensive lineups. So it's definitely a map that I would like to see first because, of course, it kind of sets the tone, sets the mood for everything, as every first map does. But I will say, I feel like there's a lot of potential to see what teams have in store, especially if it's completely new and completely different. But I believe we will be going into the game very, very, very soon. So enough talk about these maps. Let's get into the band. Starting off, Deimos will be the first operator off the board. And let me know, Patrick, you think anybody who is the next offensive to come out? Because I feel like Border is a map that anybody can get taken off. It's a
Well,
little bit
I'm
weird.
really surprised that they're really going to let TMU see if maybe they want to keep the Montaigne on attack. That's not something we usually ever see. And there we go. The Ying is going to get banned out. And because of that, TMU are going to have the ability to bring that Monty potentially on the attack. That's not something that I'm usually used to seeing this season. And that could very well be the switch up that they needed. I guess ETS, they really just don't like the Deimos. They maybe find themselves susceptible to getting picked off from the Deimos. The Valkyrie is a great band from TMU as well. Probably arguably one of the strongest defenders on Border. This is literally her map. The cam spots that you can get creative with are incredible. And for the side of ETS, that leaves them with one last defensive op who they want to take off. And I'm not going to lie, I think so far what needs to happen from ETS, especially if there's going to be a Monty in the mix, of TMU Blue as ETS bans out the scope host. I think with ETS on the defense first and with TMU having the Montaigne at their disposal, they have to make sure that they play in a way together to make sure that the Montaigne doesn't just find any solos or isolated gunfights. If he does get selected, I believe not even being chosen right now from TMU, so that's a
Wow.
little bit surprising to me at least. But
No, you know
again,
what? I'll tell you, Patrick. I was
yeah,
once
yeah,
casting for
go for it.
CCL. It wasn't with you, but there was like I think it was like two maps. Monty was not banned, and I think he
Attackers
was
need to
played a
locate and
total of like
defuse
two
as many
rounds
bombs
or
as
three
they
rounds,
can.
combined two maps. I'm being
That's
so serious with
That's
you.
absolutely insane for me to hear because he's easily like
The
the
most banned
strongest.
operator.
Yeah, like he's the strongest operator in the entire game right now, given that shield rework that came out earlier in the spring/summer. So again, it's going to be very interesting. But immediately, let's get it all started. So far, we have our armory defense and archives as well. It's going to be very interesting. The defense has set up
10
last 10
seconds to
seconds
insertion.
ago, and it's going to be the zombies actually using that
5
shotgun
seconds to
primary
insertion.
instead of the SMG. So a little interesting, most likely trying to set up angles that
Locate a
player
bomb and
rotates, play those long angles inside of security with the Kiba barriers as well. Just going to set up probably some cheeky peeks. But for now, here we go. It's all underway. CCL playoffs, round one. Let's get right into it. And we're going to start off with Naj first. He's going to be breaching his way into customs and immediately looking to take early ground and make sure that they can maybe establish some metal source control. And there's no way that ETS don't hear the sledge
No
coming
way.
up the stairs. But no, it's going to happen immediately. Munchies takes up one and immediately hops over the armory desk. Immediately retraded out by Otter on the mirror window. But ETS left scratching their heads. They don't even know what just happened. They find the refrag. But I gotta say, for TMU, a little bit of a risky first move, but I kind of like it.
Oh my god, that kind of brings a little bit of fuel to this game. I'm not gonna lie, if it was the Azami going down, that would have been insane. It is just the Goyo, which I know it's not just the Goyo, it's the player themselves as well. But luckily, Goyo is an operator where you can get all of his utility down. And then if he's dead, at least everything is placed. So if it was the Azami, you might have some issues. Luckily, it won't be the case. And actually, Otter is going to find himself. Chugil is going to take a down, and not only a boom force from Naz, he's going to take down Jogoku as well. We get a 4v3 in favor of the defensive side, the boys on ETS. However, when it is going to be over by these top east stairs, we're going to see if he's going to be able to get any picks. But as for right now, it seems like the boys on ETS are going to be playing the waiting game. They're not going to get too aggressive. They have numbers, and it seems like they're just going to sit down and let time do its thing.
Right, well, I mean, a minute 15 left to work for the attack, and so far they need to really establish a foothold into security. That's going to be the main thing. But again, doing that, you have to clear out Wiz. And now as the peek comes through, Cash is going to do just that. And the refrag doesn't quite happen just yet because, again, it's going to be the Kiba barrier that actually saves Cash on the Ash. And because of that, FICO going to be taken off the board as well. All of a sudden, with 50 seconds left, the attack is rolling. And immediately, it's going to be all on the Wamai inside of Archives before this Mira would get seemingly just completely overwhelmed. Goyo canister going down as well on that East Balk. So immediately there's going to be another 20 seconds runoff time there. They have comms on the Wamai now. They notice that he's behind that Mira in Archives, and the Wamai is going to have to end up moving. This bridge should go down now from the eastern side of Archives, and this should allow, if they can just find the Wamai, for the Ace to walk in through Breach and plant. But no, they're going to have to take this head on. And the Mira is definitely also working with the Wamai to make sure the cross is being set there. It is going to actually be the picks down from below as well, the vertical. It's Mira playing it so well, and Forky's is going to be able to find the last pickoff. A brilliant rotation down the hatcher, down middle stairs by the Mira, sitting below, has the Nitro pre-placed. It's immediately going to be Otter who seals the deal with a quad kill. It's going to be able to find ETS their first round on the defensive side. Cook, Otter, cook.
Oh my gosh. Otter on a vector is a different type of animal. Get this guy on a leash. He's absolutely tearing up the TMU boys. That was a ridiculous first start to the first game, the first round, the first map, the first everything of this matchup. Can you believe that? What a great way to start this map, and that's some great tone to start with the boys on ETS. As for TMU, I'm sure that was a little bit overwhelming, but although that was overwhelming, it was a 4v. Let's not forget it was quite close. It ended up becoming a 1v2. In that case, though, they did end up having the advantage with a 3v2. Unfortunately, they just kind of fell short, but I mean, it was teetering. You know, at some point ETS had a lead, then TMU had the lead, and then it was back to ETS, and then TMU, and then the round ended up closing out. But regardless, that round is done. Well done to all of the boys on ETS for winning that out. It is only one round of many for this first map, and of course, we will be seeing ourselves going down to that bathroom and Teller's bomb spot.
Right, and I mean, again, if you really want to stop this ETS side, this ETS team, you gotta deal with players like Otter and FICO. I know FICO was able to get dealt with early enough to become not really much of a factor. But again, Otter, such a dangerous player in the CCL scene because we haven't seen very much of him. Again, before coming into this, only 21 and 10 for the entirety of the CCL. Again, I believe only played one, maybe two matches. Probably only just the one, if honestly I'm going off the stats alone. And again, you know, we're seeing it just kind of replicate out here. Already 4-0, starting off in the Mira. And I really gotta question TMU's ability to have the chance to ban that Mira on the defense, and yet they don't. That being said, the Frost is going to go down as Jog's gonna pick up the first pick.
Honestly, I feel like Mira doesn't get banned that crazy on this map. She does get banned off, you know, sometimes, but I feel like the Valk and the Azami are the typical defensive bans. I'm surprised that there was no Scopos, but then there was a Scopos, but then again, it was ETS to ban Scopos. If they're going to be utilizing Mira, they're not going to want to get her off the board. But anyways, I digress. She's on the board, and that's just how it's going to have to be. That's going to be TMU that are going to have to think about if they want to end up going against her, if they do end up going to club next game. But anyways, that's a different thought. still going to be a 4v5. The boys on ETS are going to be at the disadvantage, and not just a one-man disadvantage, but make it a two-man, as the boys on TMU are going to make their way through Office. However, not going down without a fight. FICO is going to take a down a win, and the score is just about a player apart, as this is going to be a 3v4 in favor of the boys on TMU. But it seems like the entirety of the top floor is for the boys on TMU, and they're going to be pushing back ETS as far as they possibly can, but not before Wiz is able to get a kill onto Cash. We're back to a 3v3.
And that's absolutely crazy that Nitro works, again, even with the pulse. You gotta think the IQ's there to counter that out. That being said, Forky's is gonna be able to run wild and is actually going to take down that IQ. So again, for TMU now, 50 seconds, man disadvantage, it's not looking very good. Are they aware about FICO's position in that main lobby, just tucked behind the desk there? That could really come back to bite TMU if that's not cleared properly. And again, only time will tell. They have to get drones in there to try to find intel. I was going to say their main execute should be coming through that teller's wall that connects over to waiting, but it's being covered right now. There's nothing stopping FICO from just being able to peek up over that. Turbo's definitely spotted him, though, in that position with the drone. So right now, Forky's is going to have to try to reposition if that Mozzie is unaware of that drone seeing him. It's got to be sure to play it safe. And now, it's actually going to be the reposition. The high pins are going down. You got to assume it's a bathroom drop. Wiz is going to be able to find one onto Naj, and that's going to be the double kill for him. And with 6 seconds left, it's going to have to all fall down to Mr. Turbo. The cross being launched by FICO. And that round's going to be all she wrote. ETS taking another.
Yikes. ETS doing absolutely great. I mean, I feel like the rounds are decently close. There's usually only a player apart, but I mean, ETS ends up closing out that second round quite nicely. Otter didn't have to do anything at all. His teammates are able to clean up the rest. So regardless if that 4-piece was anything or not, his team seems like they are fully functional, able of taking care of business themselves. And TMU, I mean, they had an electric start. They had that sledge walk, or I believe it was Raj who just absolutely walked right in there. Or Naj, sorry, Naj, absolutely walking in there and just taking that first early pick. But unfortunately, that aggression doesn't seem to be really helping them out anytime soon, as it is, 2-0 now. However, it's only 2 rounds. Anything can happen. This way we are going to be going. I believe this is, what's it called? Workshop and art. No, not archive.
Vents.
Vent and workshop. Oh my god.
Going to
Vent and
vents.
workshop.
I was going to say the tertiary bomb site is going to have to be the play right now for ETS before their sides then obviously refresh and they're able to then pick those other 3 sites. Again, I'm assuming they probably immediately go back up to Armory, being how just, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Dominant.
They won.
They were able to keep it, especially with only being at like what, a 2v4 at one point, and they were able to pull through. I mean, if you're ETS and you know you can lose 3 players there on a 3-man disadvantage and still pull a round back, you got to be confident, right? So again, now it's going to be TMU to start making progress in. This drone now from the Brava is getting so much value, is already taking care of 2 Malusi web gadgets. And now, FICO just sneaking back down those east stairs. Let's see if maybe we can catch a player in waiting, but not going to be the case. Or maybe even through Passport. It is going to be Mr. Turbo, actually. And Mr. Turbo isn't aware of FICO's positioning. This could be a very easy, quick pickup for the side of ETS, especially with that being on a Nomad as well. That's going to be flank watch gone if those air jabs haven't been dispensed to the side of TMU Blue. But no, it's actually going to be Winnin who finds the first pick onto Forky's. A great job on the cross there from Supply to be able to find the player in sight. So now, it's a great job so far from TMU Blue, but just as I say that, Caster Curse kicks in, the FICO Lurk gets spotted out, but not in time, and that's the Nomad off the board. Mr. Turbo, say goodbye. You're going to have to spectate for the rest of the round.
I see a lot of resurgence with this Mozzie now that they've, I believe, given him 4 pets. So it's nice to see that there's that Mozzie pick rate is absolutely skyrocketing. I used to be a huge Mozzie man. But anyways, 2 picks are going to come out in favor of the boys. Make it 3 on ETS. And it just seems like the boys on ETS are absolutely dominating TMU Blue right now. It doesn't seem like this is, it just honestly seems like a bit of a T-hunt at this point right now. These 3 defensive rounds for ETS have been absolutely nothing but just straight, like you said, domination. There's nothing short of that. And although the rounds end up kind of coming close, that one was probably the furthest, which is crazy because it is the tertiary site. But anyways, now like we said, it's the full rotation. We're going back up to that top floor, and TMU are really gonna have to figure out and just analyze, reanalyze everything, and start to adapt to the way that ETS play because well, it's not looking too good considering that ETS are up 3-0. But you did also mention that Quarter is more of a defender-sided map.
Right, but that being said, if this does end up going 6-0 on the side of ETS, I mean, this one's going to be over before it started, especially on TMU's map pick. These next 3 rounds are absolutely essential for TMU to take. And immediately, the number one problem is you're not able to clear out FICO from this lurk that he's been able to go from. He's been able to pick off a player, and then not only that, been able to preserve his life on more occasions than none, and get away with, well, murder, simply as stated. Usually then coming back to bite TMU in the butt later, as he's going to be able to pick up yet another pick to end things off. So again, you have to deal with these lurkers on the side of TMU Blue. Having the Nomad down that first pick isn't a great way to do that, I will admit, and that's probably why it was such a pivotal pick for the side of ETS and FICO on the roam. But now it's going to have to be Otter, who they haven't been able to clear out of these power positions, especially on that Mira pick, like I said before. Again, Mira, who you said sometimes you do see, Bianca, getting banned out more times than not. I get that the Valkyrie and the Azami are very prevalent, but even then, they've let the Azami slip away as well, so now being able to use the Azami and the Mira seems like so far it's been a mistake that Team U Blue have seen in their bans. They needed to take at least one of those 2 out. They did it, and right now I think they're paying the price for that. As much as he's going to be able to find one from the Malusi, and now peeking through this west balcony is Cash, but got to be very careful as he's just challenging through to the half wall. Maybe some quick peeks here and there. Are you going to re-challenge this? No shot to keep on going for the same play. And no, eventually going to slide off, maybe use some drone work. That works out well, but I wouldn't really advise quick peeking against a mirror window for the whole round. And now it's going to be Turbo, who actually finds a pick, but then also team kills. That being said, Cash is going to find another one as well, and we're going to be all even all of a sudden.
Oh my gosh, shots are firing from either side and make it another as Cash is going to take down Otter with that a 2v3 is on the way, but we've seen ETS come back from these man disadvantages. Not only that, but their star player, or at least, we say the star player FICO is still alive right now, so you have to think, is this round really over for ETS just yet? There's about 1:15 in the round remaining, and it seems like TMU are all going to try and make their way into sight. As for Forky, he doesn't seem to be on site at all, actually, as he's going to be on the first floor doing what? I'm not too sure. Never mind. He's coming back with his teammate to help him out. This could be insane. You might be able to get a cheeky little pick or get flanked off. Forky's going to take off Mr. Turbo, as I was saying, who was just there cheekily off site. And with Cash getting a 3-piece, it's going to be a 1v2. FICO left to fight for his left. However, there's still a lot of time for the boys on TMU to work. They are able to use their drones and able to move slowly but surely. They don't need to all rush in at once. As long as you're not giving FICO his ones, you should be good. 30 seconds remaining on the clock. It seems like Win is going to start to make his way through. I wonder if Cash is going to simultaneously swing together to hopefully cut him off. And at least if he does end up getting one kill, he won't be able to get the next. Walking in through, he knows that the guy's going to be top metal. And are you kidding me? You're still going to plant that bomb? What is going on? What? Why'd you continue to plant? Are you serious? Do you think that you're just invisible to everybody else? Oh my gosh. Well, there you have it. FICO, of course, closing out that round. I mean, I feel like TMU could have won that.
I think they absolutely could have, and I think that TMU right now are really stressing under the pressure. They're letting FICO get away with way too much here. But I want to talk about the amount of difference that play from Forky's on main stairs, on metal stairs makes. You have, when he's sitting on the bottom of metal, I saw it with my own eyes. There was a Z ping just
Am I the only one that can't hear Patrick?
Oh, wait, what? I'm talking. I mean, there was a Z ping that was on FICO downstairs, and he's just not able to find anything from it. I mean, that player should be gone and dead. I can't believe, is there an audio problem with myself? Hold on.
Patrick? Are you here?
Yeah, I mean, I am here. I wonder if it's maybe an audio problem on your side. I want to see is Patrick talking in the chat. Well, if I'm not, I would assume Bianca would keep going.
Okay, I
But
don't want
I
to
guess
say
before we get
anything
this,
in case he's talking and it's just like, oh, Jazz.
I
Jazz is
think I'm talking. I hope I'm talking. If not, that hey, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna continue as if I am, and I will say that
Patrick, I hear you again.
There we go. There we go. What happened? Okay, was it a problem on your end with audio?
I couldn't hear you at all, and I was
Okay, that's
like,
fine.
oh.
We're gonna move past that, and we're just gonna refresh. Okay. So immediately now, let's focus on this round. Early pick almost coming out. It is going to be the Ram drones, I believe, or sorry, not the Ram drones. Sorry, the hits into the barricade that are going to open up the floor. The reason why I said Ram drone there for a second is because I saw part of the floor start to open up, and I thought for a minute, like, what is going on? But no, it is actually just going to be residuals from the bullets being shot to the barricade. Something I wanted to touch on real quick, if these players don't do anything and allow me to do so. Forky's was Z-pinged on the bottom of metal stairs. There could have been a player, aka Cash, who ended up doing it to go down below and clear him out. That being said, why are we allowing Forky's to then walk up metal and just peek and kill one of us? You didn't have to do that on the side of TMU. These are plays that could have been avoided, and I think they're plays that really ended up making ETS get away with way too much there. But immediately, now we gotta focus back onto Naj. Now, with the Blitz going into offices, is going to have lines of sights on two people, but Forky's is gonna get away with a double Nitro! And it's now going to have to be Turbo who finds the first onto Otter, and Munchies is gone. But such a big play so early from Forky's is going to get rid of the IQ who can no longer counter out that Pulse. So now the Pulse is going to be able to just run absolutely wild. This is a great Z-ping here from the Pulse. If he just acts and maybe the Cade uses the Nitro Cell, that would have been a pick. But no, the timing isn't on. And because of that, the Cade at least saves his Nitro for now. But now it's going to be injured, and Turbo dying with a Nitro in pocket that could have potentially picked up two is a big mistake. Or not Turbo, sorry, Wiz. Turbo got the kill, my bad.
And with that, a 2v3 is underway. The boys on TMU did have the lead, but not for long. Forky's is absolutely on fire. He's going to find 3 this round, and it might just be a 4th if Naj is not careful. He's running and charging with that Blitz shield, and unfortunately, he's going to get taken down by Forky's. Looking for the aces. It is going to be his quad. Koku is going to drop down that bathroom hatch. It's going to be up to either Forky's or FICO, both double Fs, to get this pick. I'm sure Forky's is looking for that ace. But with 20 seconds remaining, Jokoki is going to have to think about what he's going to do next. He does have the diffuser at hand, but whether or not he's going to try to plant it is another thing. It would be the best case scenario, or at least win a 1 and see what you can do from there. From Workshop, he's going to take down a FICO, and there we go. 1v1 is in the situation. Forky is forced to take his ace. He's going to swing out, and somebody's going to get the kill. It's going to be Jokoku. That's going to be unfortunate. Forky's ace getting taken away, but finally TMU are able to find themselves a round win. Oh my gosh, it only took them 5 rounds, but finally the score 4-1, extremely close, but they win it.
Yeah, again, good job there from Jog to just isolate his ones. He's a player of that caliber that I would expect that type of play from, and because of that, going to be able to find TMU their first round. That being said, I gotta say, it's still 4-1. For the side of TMU Blue, we really have to make sure that we get away with a 4-2 split. Going 5-1 is just a little bit too much. I fear even with the side swap, a team on the caliber of ETS is not going to let TMU Blue get away with 5 rounds on defense. That being said, you never know technically. I'm not, perfect. I can't predict what's going to essentially happen. But as the rounds would state and as the pace of the game would say, right now Team U Blue, they really need to get the second round. They have to avoid a 5-1 split at all costs. And it's going to be ETS that yet again go to that bathroom teller's bomb site.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate if you're going to have to try and come back from 5-1. Like you said, ETS is it's not the team that is going to just let a 5-1 lead blow right through them. Of course, like you said, we're not perfect, but we can make a pretty educated guess, and I'd say the exact same thing. I'll also say, and I usually say this a lot, the mental chalk and the mental difference between being down 1 being down 1-5 versus being down 2-4, I think is a completely different playing field. And with that, as I'm saying, hopefully we don't end up seeing a 5-1 on split. Already, Mr. Turbo's going to get taken down early off, leaving the boys on TMU with a man deficit already, not even 30 seconds around. And somebody's already dead on their end.
Right, I mean, it's not the greatest start, especially when you realize on that bathroom site, it's going to be the Buck of all people to get taken out. That mirror window that looks into archives is meant to stop the attack from getting through archives to get to offices to start taking verticality. But it's not even going to have to be used because the Buck is now gone, the Ash gone as well, and make that the Jackal. Otter and Forky's ETS have a day. The Lion Scan isn't going to matter because this one, I'm going to go ahead and say, barring a miracle, is just done before it even starts. That being said, Naj is going to find one pick onto Otter, and if I successfully caster curse ETS, then TMU, you owe me something. I'm going to go ahead and say it, but right now, as most of the defense just tries to turtle up and make this even more difficult as they now utilize that timer being that 5th man for them, they're going to let TMU waste time and drone that top floor and find, guess what, absolutely nothing. Because at the end of the day, now you have to walk into potentially another Nitro Cell pocket. You have to walk into 4 defenders, and with limited time to do so, it's almost as if that timer's a 5th man for them, because you're going to be under pressure. Dropping into this waiting room area from Naj wouldn't, I would assume, be the best thing to do, especially with a camera up, and I mean also just the drop sound in general. So many people are going to hear that. The Legion now especially knows of the positions, and now is going to move over to that passport side through to customs. So Munchy's just going to be able to try to delay even more time, potentially going on another alert. And right now, it is all coming down to the wire. 45 seconds to go, and I think TMU, their timer is running very thin.
Yeah, I mean, they were aware of where the Legion was. It's just unfortunate that nobody's really able to get that pick for him, considering that, you know, TMU is only 2 people, so to have them rotate all the way around his other teammate would be quite difficult. With that, though, as we just about approach 25 seconds, like you said, this is the 5th man. The pressure that is going to be on TMU, they're already a little bit down, considering that they are down 2 men, but with having time against them is also going to be a big factor as well. And a lot of teams are not able to work under pressure. Speaking of pressure, it seems like Force is going to put the pressure on Naj, but with that, Wizzafizo got a little bit of pressure out on his own, and damn!
No way!
Oh my god, that was a beautiful headshot, I will not lie. Despite the boys on TMU losing that out, Goku put up a great fight. I mean, damn, that really impressed me. I do say so myself, but unfortunately, leaving split at a 5-1 is, it's not the best case scenario, especially if you're on TMU. If you're ETS, that's damn near the best case scenario you could ever ask for. As for TMU, that is probably the worst. Well, it is the second worst option available for them. So, well done, guys.
Right, I mean, again, it's just these big-time players on the side of Forky's, Otter, and FICO. Again, Forky's the guy who I wasn't talking about for when I was talking about the 2 big players on the side of ETS, but going 9-3, he's definitely making sure his impact is felt. And even then, even though, just stats-wise, from a KD ratio aspect, is being outshined, I will say Otter hasn't been in the scene for as long. Forky's has really been, throughout the season, the second most consistent player on ETS with a 1.22 KD ratio to boot, and because he has 9 kills and he was sitting at 99, he's officially joined the 100 club, at least for kills so far, and now is going to look to join these boys on the side of ETS in taking this next round and moving it to match point. So it's really kind of a 3-headed monster that you got to worry about right now. And that being said, Wiz and Munchies by no means are slacking at all. They're very close to just being even, but they've been able to use utility and also create big-time picks. Wiz, especially on that kite, as I believe, that Cade was able to find a huge one in one of the rounds that really shifted to ETS towards winning. I believe it was in Vents. So again, these are players that are still making big plays. Everyone on ETS, if it's under my concern, is firing on all cylinders. Right now, TMU just can't do a damn thing about it. Now, though, however, it is going to have to be ETS to work on the offensive side, and I will say, let me talk about how much I love this Flores pick, especially when we talk about getting rid of stuff like goo mines, frost mats, again, Kiba barriers as well. Yeah,
yes, sir.
Again, there is so much utility. Bulletproof cams like that, and a deployable shield as well. this Flores, it's almost kind of like his playground. As long as he doesn't run one of his drones into a mute jammer, all should be good. And Wiz is immediately going to start things off strong with the first pick. That being the Frost, still probably not the worst person that you can imagine TMU could have lost there. Frost is very expendable, especially because she just puts down the utility in the start, so at least the team still has access to it. But again, you would rather obviously not be at a man disadvantage to start off things early. With a minute 40 left, it's going to be ETS that start breaching their way into offices.
Yeah, of course, not only that, but you're not going to want to be a man down when you are also 4 rounds down. So it's not going to be looking too good for the boys on TMU. We'll see if they're going to be able to hold down this fort, but I mean, it's not looking too great. The boys on ETS, not only that, despite having that man advantage which they no longer have, they are also still taking their time in order that they're not getting over aggressive. They get a pick and they're not getting overzealous. They're not jumping for the game as usual. Naj is going to take down one along with Otto's going to take down Mr. Turbo. We're back to a 3v3, even though playing field builder is going to be just about a minute remaining in the round. It can be anybody's game, and with that, Joe Goku's going to get another one going absolutely amazing. He's going to take down Forky. That's going to be the 2-piece for him, and with that, it's going to be 2 boys on ETS who just need to fight off these 3 players on TMU if they want to win out this round.
Right, but immediately, I'm going to be talking about this one after the round ends. The problem with ETS is clear is they were never able to deal with Jog, and because of that, Jog has just been going absolutely rampant, been kind of working throughout that security area, through to that main hall, back onto 90, and then back into security. Just been able to loop around these attackers and just make them pay the price for not taking the time to clear out the Azami, and because of that, TMU are actually going to take away what I'm going to say easily their best round out of the 2 that they've won, the most clinical, and if this is going to be a sign of a comeback, that is the perfect round to do so. That being said, I'm also going to say I think Jog needs a little bit of help. He's kind of the man doing a little bit of everything for the side of TMU when it comes to winning rounds, at least going in big for the rounds that they have won. And again, don't get me wrong, Cash 6-6, I get it, KD's not everything as well when you look at the side of TMU Blue. But in this case, when it translates to round score before this round being a 5-1, and we especially take away the fact that that was also with, I believe, no one else on the side of TMU getting a pick, unless I'm wrong. I think, no, Turbo might have picked up 1. But again, I do think for the side of TMU, they just need someone else to really support Jog. Can't be pulling off hero plays the entire game. It's not a formula for a winning successful map. Especially when you look at the fact that this is TMU's map pick. Unless I'm wrong about that, I'm pretty sure I'm correct, because it was then ETS who decided to play on the defense first. Smart choice from them, as we come to see over here. But now, TMU's map pick, you know, again, 5-2, it's still not the most ideal score. They really need every round they can get here. Every round is essential. You really don't want to have to go on match point this early. And I really got to say, for the side of ETS at least, if they want to close this thing out and they don't want to give TMU Blue any momentum, you have to be able to deal with Jog. He's the one guy who's been able to kind of keep you guys on your toes, and now as the engagement comes through, they have to clear out this vertical lurk. But no, the Anchor's actually going to find it down on to, I believe it was FICO. Yes, but that being said, Munchies will be able to find the pick onto Cash, and because of that, now FICO will be rezzed, even though at 20 health. Again, not that bad. What I'm really looking at right now is Winnin, who was on that pulse scanner, saw about 3 heartbeats, and was just chilling in vents. You maybe wonder if the Nitro comes out potentially there to try to stop anything, and at least Winnin is going to be able to do that, and there we go. That's the pulse. So, again, we still have Mr. Turbo with, I believe, a Nitro in pocket, and 1 used, 1 kill found. It's a great job, and that's actually going to be able to clear out Munch, who's also one of the 2 vertical components for the side of ETS. So I kind of like this for the side of TMU Blue, if anything. With a minute 40 left to go, it's going to have to be ETS, actually. The pressure's on them. They really got to start finding a way into a little bit of map control, because Won't lie, this timer's gonna tick down very soon, and they aren't even aware of Naj, who's on an absolute hell of a lurk, finds Forky's, and that's gonna be the Grim down. An operator who's so good when it comes to the actual execute when it comes into play, and now they're not gonna even have the Grim able to help them in that right. So great job there from Naj, and what I really like is he's gonna get the pick, and then he's just gonna peel back through those waiting stairs. It's now just gonna tunnel up with with all the rest of the remaining players on the side of TMU Blue. I like how this is going so far. I think ETS, they've kind of been left scratching their heads a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything can happen. There is about 45 seconds remaining, but when I say anything can happen in the favor of CMU. They're going to take a down Otter, and it's going to be a 2v4 now, which like we were talking about how the pressure of time was working in favor for the boys on ETS, it's now going to work in favor of the boys on TMU Blue as the time continues to tick. Wizavai is going to be the last remaining soldier, and no longer is Jog is going to take him down. Beautifully done. The defensive side for the boys on TMU is looking a lot better and a lot more controlled. They're playing a lot more like a team versus when they were playing the offense. As for ETS, well, they're getting these picks and they're just not able to get refragged. They're just getting caught in bad positions. And honestly, I mean, they did end up getting the opening pick. They did end up killing, I believe it was Cash very early on. But regardless, you got to be able to hold your own. And, well, it's going to be ETS's loss and TMU's win as they close out their second defensive
Attackers
round.
need
It
to
seems like we're
locate and
going
defuse
the
bombs.
full 3 sites as well, going to that vent and workshop, that tertiary site.
And what I like about this more is the fact that that round, even though Jog does pick up a double, everybody else on the side of Team U finds value. Winning with the Negracell down below, Naj with the Lurk, and Mr. Turbo with another pick as well. So, again, I do think that on the defensive side, yes, they do look more complete. My question now that I'm thinking about as they go to the tertiary bomb site, it has been 2 very dominant rounds so far. I'll give them that. Is once these sites refresh and they go back to the bomb sites they already played, the sites that ETS has already seen the setup on, is ETS going to know how to now deal with that? Or are they going to crumble from lack of momentum? That's the question I have right now. And I gotta say, I am quite impressed that Team U have been able to at least claw their way back into this. However, they still did end that first split 5-1, so they really have to avoid, like I said, giving up any round. So far, they've done a great job at that. But Wiz on the Blitz is going to be a very concerning sight if you're on the side of TMU. Don't count the Warden. I do like the Legion, who can at least help counter him, but Cash is going to take down the Blitz early, and oh no, TMU, again, you've just made ETS look like absolute dogs in just a death house, and Turbo is going to find one with a shoddy as well. TMU, they just look so dominant on the side of the defense. I'm almost going to say maybe even just as, if not more dominant than the defense of ETS. And this is really interesting because now we're just seeing this might not be a story of what was ETS domination. This might just be the tale of the tape that Border is a defensive masterclass of a map. And it requires a lot on the attacking side to be needed. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Both teams have so far not met those attacking requirements.
Oh, and there we go. A timeout being
Yeah,
called on the side of ETS. That's definitely needed. I will not lie. I'm
you
glad
have
that they're
to.
utilizing that. Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself. You leave split at 5-1, and now it is 5-4. 1 round away from being tied out completely at a 5-5. And I mean, you said this, and honestly, it really did. And it's honestly crazy to think that TMU's defense looks even stronger than when ETS was on defense themselves. I mean, the rounds speak for themselves. It's like a 3v1. That was like a 4v1. It doesn't seem like it's nearly as close as ETS. And like you said, it really must come down to the fact that Border is just a defense sided map because I mean this is insane. We might just see like an exact repeat. I mean, there was a statistic. I don't know if I've ever spoken to you about this, Patrick, but a while back, you've casted with the
Attackers
with
need
the
to
whiskey duo
locate and
before, and I
defuse
believe it was
bombs.
Whiskey Glitter. I was casting with him, and he had told me that it's between like 70 to 75% of the time that a team calls a timeout. The team that calls the timeout ends up winning the round immediately after. So with that being said, hopefully we will see ETS win this out, putting themselves at match point, because it seems like this has been going on for far too long now. They had a 5-1 lead, and now it's about to be closed out, equalized out scores. So we'll see if they're going to be in the majority of that statistic, or if they're going to be that minor 30, 25, 30% that end up losing despite calling that timeout.
I'm going to say something that is, I think, underlooked so far this matchup. It's something you basically pointed out earlier. These rounds that we're seeing TMU defend, we're seeing 4-1s. We're seeing 3-1s, right? They come down to it, and ETS is not able to make the hero play. When ETS was on defense, remember, there were a lot of times where FICO had to be the difference maker and find multiple kills in order to claw their way back into that man advantage. So again, I really gotta say, TMU, you've got a lot of nerve holding your timeout in pocket going down for the first 3-4 rounds. I really would have thought the TAC timeout comes in, but now TMU, they're looking very good. They still have their own TAC timeout in pocket, and I would assume that maybe they use it if ETS brings it onto match point. Again, you bring up the 70%. That being said, there is so much that needs to happen on the side of ETS if they want to, I'm gonna say, just win even just one round. So many mistakes that are happening. I mean, especially no one's able to shut down Jog, and now the team is starting to kind of find a flow behind him. So, for the side of ETS, really got to shut down hero players early. Hatch being opened up in the bathroom, Winning just trying to peek on through to that, but going to very wisely just vacate that position, as now we see Wiz on the drone going through to bathroom, and it's just the Buck who's lurking down below. And I actually like this. If I'm the Buck here, I'm just going to create vertical pressure from below, from that construction area, and Otter is going to pick off Winning from that. That's a good start right now for ETS. Someone who they need to take out early, like the Frosty, will just get a little bit of a man advantage. And there we go. Wiz starting to create vertical pressure. And if he just shot a couple more shots from that skeleton key shotgun on the Buck, may have been able to find a player from above that bathroom area. Naj on 46 health is most likely going to try to back away, but retake the gunfight now in the main hall. Seems he really wants to hold down that power position, but in doing so, Otter is going to find Cash's demise. And it's looking all ETS. That 70% is looking like it may very well come into fruition, Bianca.
Absolutely. I'm glad to see that it's working out. If you're a TMU fan, maybe you're not too glad. Regardless, oh my gosh, nearly gets hung out by that Legion. He just about evades him with the skin of his teeth, but never mind. He's going to run out anyways. Naj taking down Otter, going to be at a 4v3, making a 3v3 despite ETS having that advantage. Doesn't seem like they're going to have it for much longer if they are not careful. And there you go, 3 kills ringing in the ears of ETS, but there we go. They're able to equalize it back out at a 2v2 is what we're looking at, but with 10 seconds remaining, the boys don't even have the diffuser in their hands. They're gonna have to make a long trek back to site, and with Turbo over there right by that archives door, right by that fountain door, it's not gonna be too good as he takes down one and the other. Oh my god, talking about that 70% statistic, and somehow the boys on ETS with the two-man advantage are not going to be able to clutch that out, and we're gonna be at a tie game, a standstill, 5-5.
If TMU wins this game, Naj just made the play of the series with that run out from offices. Finds, I don't know if you actually caught that, Bianca, not only finds the kill, but then finds the down as well. He killed 2 people from that one run out.
What?
So,
I didn't even notice that.
Yes, so the Thatcher was down because Naj also downed the Thatcher and just didn't confirm it before hopping back in the window. Was afraid that maybe the retrade was coming, or the refrag was coming through. So, Naj just making a hell of a play. And because of that, are you kidding me? TMU, despite the TAC timeout, and they still have one in pocket, are going to be able to come away with that round. time after time again, we've seen TMU now start to bolster up on the defense, and even when the going gets tough, they prove that they still have the adversity to pull through. ETS, you've let this one get out of hand, and I gotta say, I'm really surprised that we didn't see Wiz stick on the Monty. I think the Monty here would be great to just gain intel for free. I get it, you're playing into the Legion, you're playing into the smoke, and yes, if the pulse gets you from below, that could be a little bit of a problem. But right now, ETS just seem like they need intel, because they were making it into offices, and there was like, what, 30 seconds left in the round? That is way too long. They weren't able to clear security in time. They are not able to clear these power positions and find intel on these players to pick them off early. And an operator like the Montaigne could be perfect for something like that. So, again, given that ETS or TMU is playing to the Montaigne's counters, just in case he ends up getting picked out from the side of ETS, TMU, I mean, they still look amazing. In ETS, there's a lot to be desired here. But immediately, I will say, they're making some good progress in this round so far. 2 minutes left to go. We should start seeing some engagements being taken into account. But are they aware of winning customs? I don't believe so. I'm looking at the highlight right now. Munchies has no clue that Winnin is so close to him. And immediately, it's going to be Jog who gets taken down. But there, Winnin finally makes his presence known. Finds 4 keys, and that's going to be the Grim for the execute that ETS need to rely on. He's going to be eliminated. I get it, the smoke, that is a tough loss for the side of TMU. But again, what's going to be even tougher for the side of ETS is their thermite is going to go down. And now, yes, Munchies does find a pick onto Mr. Turbo, but trades are going absolutely wild. Finally, ETS starts to kind of pull away with them. The Thermite's going to get revived. The Pulse on the side of Winnin is going to be down. And Munchies finally makes a big-time play for ETS, one that they so very well needed. But immediately, my question mark comes in. Are they aware of Cash, who's on this main stairs lurk? That being said, Otter's going to start to get the plant down, but this Jaeger can really make a huge play. Are they aware of Naj's position? The bomb goes down, but they are not. Finds 1, finds 2 as well! Naj with a huge double! And is he aware of the player in Customs? Definitely is now as they make their way into Passport. It's going to be Naj who's to try to find potentially this next gunfight. Shots ringing through. FICO just trying to hold the safe angle. 20 seconds left to go, and Naj has a lot of work to be desired. Does he even know that he's sandwiched by these 2 players? Should walk right into the Ashes waiting arms. And it's going to be ETS who pick up a very much desired round and find themselves on match point.
Ooh, oh my god, that was absolutely needed. And here we go. I was literally saying, I'm like, we might just see an exact replica of the previous before split, which we basically are seeing it 4 rounds won by the defense, and then on that 5th round the offense do end up winning it out. That was a great round, and I was gonna say ETS seemed to have been pushing a lot faster than their previous rounds. The round before this, when it was that 4th defensive round, that 4th win, they were going in extremely slow. I think that ETS might crack a little bit under that pressure, especially when they're on the offense. And so I think that coming in a little bit faster, at least for me, what I noticed, when they're going in a little, they're able to kind of still drone everything out, but they're kind of able to take advantage. They end up getting a lead, and they're able to kind of secure it. I think that's the best play for them. When they end up getting a pick, you know, coming out and it's not in their favor early off, it's a little bit hard for them to kind of adapt and restructure, especially when they're offense. On the defense, they're great. They're down and they can still come back from. But when they're on offense and they end up having a player or 2 down, it's a lot harder for them, it seems, to be able to kind of jump back from that. So we'll see if this is going to be the final deciding round for the boys on ETS, or if TMU are going to bring them to OT. I mean, seeing how TMU has been playing on the defense, I would not be surprised at all. I actually be a little bit disappointed if they didn't end up bringing this OT, despite, you know, or not despite, but considering their valiant effort so far these last defensive rounds for them. So we'll see if they're able to pick up anything as this round begins to play out.
Yeah, again, you know, ETS, they have a lot in front of them, but they are on that match point. TMU, can you recover now from this round swinging on the way of ETS? ETS now with momentum. It's going to be difficult. But what's going to be even more difficult of a pill to swallow for ETS is that now their main playmaker, FICO, is gone and out for the count. That being said, Wiz is going to be able to counter out that pulse with the IQ. I don't know where that's been for the entire game, but finally we see it happen. I believe it was actually on the other side as well. TMU on the IQ, they were barely able to counter out the pulse. I mean, unless I'm missing it, I didn't see that pulse die once, I believe, to that IQ pistol from the scanner. So finally it works out in the other way, and it's going to be ETS who at least, you know, for now, while they don't have the ram, they still do have the buck for verticality. That being said, a very good first pick for TMU, and they're probably just going to look to keep this one rolling. What I will say, what I really like from the IQ is now they're immediately taking out all that defensive utility, and now Forky's with a soul-crushing next pick. It's going to be ETS now with man advantage, 1:20 left, and they're making great progress onto an execute with no utility in front of them, especially with the Grim as well. I really do like their odds. TMU, this is going to be a pivotal last minute for your map.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, I'm glad to see that the Grim is going to be alive. These last few rounds, Grim has died early on, and they haven't really been able to utilize him as well as they would hope, I'm sure. But regardless, it seems like ETS is going to be taking care of the entire top floors. They're going to start raining hell from above. These speed holes, these vertical holes are definitely going to be a thorn in the side of TMU. But then again, it also could be a thorn if ETS are not careful enough. As for the rest of TMU, everybody's going to be on that first floor. Wiz is going to take down the first. It's going to be Turbo, and that bomb is going to start to get planted. Now we're in a post-plant situation, and with the boys on TMU being down 2 players, it's not looking too good. But then again, anything can happen. TMU been playing great, but can they play even greater and clutch out the round when they need it most? Unfortunately, no. Those 4 defensive rounds they won straight will, unfortunately, I hate to say it, be in vain as they lose out this first map. But I mean, a great effort. I feel like if they had won a couple of their defensive rounds, I mean, not defensive, offensive rounds, then it would be a completely different story. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And with that, the boys on ETS are going to put themselves in a position where, well, they're up 1 map and they might just close it out in 2 if TMU is not careful.
Right, I mean, that is TMU's map gone. I do actually want to say something,
No, I
Bianca,
think ETS picked that map. I think ETS did pick that map. I'm like
but
almost
they chose.
positive. Attack, I know.
Oh, no. ETS chose wait. Yeah,
Because if
ETS
it was
chose defense first.
ETS's pick, then
No. It was ETS on defense first. So I'm wondering, is that why? Because I think TMU picks the map, then the other team gets to choose what side they want to
yeah, that's
start
what I'm
on.
saying. Like I think that maybe I oh yeah, I think it is ETS's map pick though. So, and then I
Okay.
don't know. We
I
gotta
think,
rewind.
look,
We gotta
yeah,
rewind.
Look, again, if Prod can confirm that, then sure. But I
Yo,
think that
can
was,
Prod confirm?
I think that was TMU's map pick. So again, I think that ETS, now they very well could close it in 2. What I was going to touch on, Bianca, is the fact that I actually think you were right about your timeout call, and I'll tell you why. Because the thing is, when you realize that the round after the timeout, yes, while TMU did win that round, you have to remember that was not a dominant round. In fact, it had to be from a come from behind victory, meaning it was an ETS throw. And I think after that, we really saw ETS started the next 2 rounds that they ended up winning the same way they started that first round after their tack timeout. They were just able to close it out those next 2 times. So again, I really do think the timeout was the play on the side of ETS. And I really do think TMU, they pay the slight price for waiting just a little too long to use their tack timeout. In fact, I
They
don't even
did.
remember. I don't even think they used it.
They didn't.
Even on match point, they were so confident that they still had the momentum for those rounds before the timeout on their side. That just wasn't the case.
honestly, I'm not surprised though. I feel like not a lot of teams will. I feel like I don't know if teams just absolutely forget. Even long time ago when I used to cast on console, it was almost never that you would see teams utilize their timeouts, which is honestly crazy. But I feel like players are just like, nah, let's just keep it going. Let's just keep the gravy train going. Let's just get into it. And I mean, I feel like it's a difference between a good team and a great team being able to, kind of be like, look, we've kind of messed up and it doesn't seem like we have our flow anymore. I think that not only do we have to, reevaluate, but that timeout can also stagger the momentum of your opponent as well. And a lot of teams kind of forget that, or a lot of teams they just overlook it. They would rather not. They would rather just have it continue going. And I mean, that's just how it is. Unfortunately, TMU don't end up using their tactical timeout, and maybe that could have been a difference. Who knows? We won't because the game is done now. But maybe next game, if they do end up kind of falling back and kind of looking at themselves, thinking, guys, we kind of got to reset. Maybe they'll end up using it now. Maybe that it's kind of on their mind.
Well, regardless of if that was Team U's map or not, they're heading into Night Haven Labs.
Oh, it's Nighthaven. I thought it was Club. What am I?
No, Club got banned out. I was talking about it a lot though in the pre. I don't blame you at all for thinking about that, but no, they are
Oh
going on to
man.
Night Haven Labs and they're attacking first. TMU Blue's attacking first on Night Haven.
Oh. Oh.
So again, that's why I really do think that I don't know, man. Is this kind of a throw? If that is ETS's map pick Night Haven, why are TMU then on sides deciding to attack it?
But
Honestly, you
that's
do
what I'm
wonder if you're yeah,
saying.
you
So
you
that's
wonder
what I'm
if you
saying. I
are
think
right,
ETS. Yeah, I
but
think ETS chose Border and then TMU chose Nighthaven because in
I don't know.
reality, I wouldn't mind if somebody were to attack on Border. I wouldn't. I think that, it depends on the team. Some teams are very dominant on offense on Border, but I feel
Mhm.
like for a map like Nighthaven, I think Nighthaven is it completely defender sided, completely defender sided. And I feel like it would be a little bit odd if you have the choice of picking sides on Nighthaven and you decide to attack first. That's why I think that ETS chose Border instead of Nighthaven.
I will say this as well. For Night Haven, when we talk about attacking it, you need 2 lanes of offense. In almost every take that I can remember on Border from TMU Blue, they weren't they really weren't using 2 lanes at all. I almost didn't see 2 sides of a take, right? I mean, it seemed like they were kinda just forcing people through single doorways. There wasn't really much
It's like an office
watching
push,
on yeah, like, I don't know. I didn't really
security
see 2
push.
lanes of offense really being used there, and the one time I did see 2 lanes of offense was actually the round that they threw to FICO because they gave him the first one in metal hall, and then the planter just for some reason thought he
Yeah,
was
I'm
safe
just
behind the bomb chassis. So that's the only time that I can remember 2 lanes of offense coming out for the side of TMU, and it didn't even go their way. If they're attacking Nighthaven first, it's gonna be a long day at the office, boys. Long day at the office. But if they pull it off, it's gonna be one of the best things I've ever seen. I'd love it if it went to a map 3. That being said, if I was to give a prediction, I just don't think that's the case. I got ETS taking it in 2.
unfortunately, I do as well. Despite map 1 being so close, I think that the defense for Nighthaven is a lot stronger than the defense for Border. And not only that, but if TMU are not as strong on their offense the same way that they weren't as strong on Border at offense, I think that it's gonna get finished even faster. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I
Wow.
also think that ETS maybe are able to kind of regroup and understand their offensive potential now, especially those last couple rounds on Border. And so I think that it's gonna be a lot harder for TMU to kind of help. Hey, look, maybe TMU's this is like a miracle kind of thing, but I do think that especially ETS centered on this defense, it's gonna be a long road ahead.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really have to agree with you there. that being said, I believe we will have an intermission coming up soon. I certainly need one because I need a water break. Any final thoughts before we kick it to maybe a quick break, a short break, if Prod can confirm for me?
Short break, guys?
Yeah, short break. All right, you have no final words, Bianca. We're good to kick it. So we will join you guys back for map 2. It's going to be Nighthaven Labs TMU starting on the attack after this quick break. 3 minutes is what I've been told. We'll see you soon.
Going to get planted. Uniquely is almost got it. 2-2. Actually finds Sonic. Canadian no name finishes off as Pro. The diffuser planted. Bulbous finds Uniquely. Canadian finds actually the 1v1 scenario with the diffuser down. The big wrap coming in from Bulbous. TMU needs to get this one. He's gonna sneak up right behind him. Can he find him? He knows. He gets it, and Canadian finishes it off. Windsor walk away 2-0 tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
He's in piano.
Gridlock is in cigar. Gridlock in cigar. He was on piano. On piano. Oh, nice shot. Oh! Oh!
You're taking care of open is for the taking, at least unless somebody comes in and tries to play.
Third time's a charm. There you go. Strike via post. Get that mirror window down. Helio ends up finding a second. But Helio finds a third. 4-2. Ladies and gentlemen, do we see the ace, the quad for Helio? Eyeballs the last. There it is. An ace in the pocket of Helio. Helio is back. TMU is back. We are getting closer, but it is still match point.
Windsor has not picked Monty once.
Yeah, Bianca, I was gonna say, you know, we're in round 4 right now, and so far. I have not seen a single Monty pickup.
Yeah.
Are we, is it an us thing? Do we just like the Monty a lot? Uh-oh. Caught in the rotation hole. Actually, the rotation hole wasn't big enough for you. Uniquely, gonna end up getting the opening pick here of the round for you, Windsor.
And even though it's down to a 2v5, the position they're in right now is so strong that it's gonna be able to get 3 kills! What is going on? Set up the air jabs to watch flanks so they can just get right in there and probably not even have to worry about CCTV or anything. Just get in there and flank that.
1, 2, 3!
Boom, boom, boom! Mod wants you in his room!
Holes from below the site. One's on the holes, one on the bird hose, one of the people on chassis. Look below you.
Where's left? Where's left?
Oh shit.
Oh wait, I didn't kill him?
On his cam. Still on his cam. Still on his cam right here. Another one's still on his cam. Off cam.
Oh my fucking god!
Last one's master.
Yo, this guy just hit a fucking clip, bro. Holy shit.
Hold on, let me. Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, idiot. So he's gotta watch out for that. Oh, nice on that Claymore. Gugger with a quick flick into bounce.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Next job here, next map, and it's going to be ETS versus TMU Blue. TMU Blue on the attack on Nighthaven Labs. And I was actually talking to Prod on the break as we do see the bands coming out here on the Deimos, Ying, Pulse, and Tubarao. it's going to actually be ETS's worst map.
Attackers
So
need to locate
I was
and
wrong.
defuse as
Bianca
many
was
bombs as
right.
they can.
Again, I didn't understand the logic between TMU having border as their map pick and then choosing to start on attack. But that's just what they decided to do. And yes, it didn't work out for them. And yes, while they are facing ETS on a Night Haven defense, I think my opinion is actually slowly starting to change on this. Thunder probably said this is ETS's worst map by far. Again, we were talking about some scrim results, and I gotta say, I definitely believe it. So on the side of ETS, I really do not understand how they necessarily
10 seconds
let
remaining.
Night Haven fall through the cracks, but they did,
5
and
seconds
TMU did a
remaining.
great job of noticing and picking it out. They definitely did their homework on that for
Attackers are
sure.
moving out to locate a bomb and defuse
So
it.
now, first round underway. It is going to be TMU on the attack, and they need to get something started quick. I always point out, ladies and gentlemen, this is a map that requires 2 lanes of offense to really kind of get a foothold on any sort of plays into the site. And immediately, I look at that Valkyrie who's sitting in tank, actually, of all places, in the basement. The Cade as well on the side of ETS, auto roaming around in storage. And maybe looking for a cheeky first entry. But before that happens, it's still going to be TMU Blue who do some early drone work, some early just intel clearance. But I really do wonder how the Valcams of Munchies are going to be able to fuel that Valkyrie back up through the lurk. So now, as we get into the round, though, it's going to be Otter, and I do believe now has an idea of where these players on the side of TMU are, that being the Buck in Vending and the Ash in Cash. And there we go. It's going to now be Mr. Otter who finds Mr. Turbo. And as the next picks come down, you then realize there's Mira on the connector wall, and this is going to be not as easy as TMU thought it was. Welcome, Bianca.
Wow, so what did I miss? I went to go clean my cup.
You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. No problem, no problem, no problem. So nothing really much, just again, it is going to be Otto to find the first pick onto Mr. Turbo, and now Jog on 74 health. It's TMU to kind of stop and reset. They've lost their soft breach, at least one of them, in the Buck. That would have been a potentially good pick as well. Just could have started ripping up the floor from below and making these defenders have to clear power positions. Because that wasn't able to happen, though, now they have to try to clear areas like Catwalk, which are going to be extremely hard to do when you have someone like Wiz on the Azami just waiting there. They haven't dealt with the Cade down below as well. Cash, what I will say, though, is going to be able to deal with that Valkyrie. That being said, even though it is a Nitro Cell out of pocket, the Valk is still going to be able to just sit on cams now full-time and be able to make those college scores to teammates. The next side of business has to be clearing out Otter down below, and that's going to be exactly what happens. A great job there from TMU Blue, and if they can clear this Azami in rafters, all of a sudden, with 30 seconds left, this is looking very doable. Now sandwiching through the position, flashbangs come out, and that's going to be Wiz to be taken down. No more Azami, and because of that now, it's going to be TMU Blue who have their lane of attack. While it is only one, they have man advantage. They can most likely play through advantage through that. Forky going to be able to find a pick from the Nitro Cell. The Flood comes into sight. Forky with 2. Forky, don't tell me you're going to get a third. No, not quite. It's actually going to be Cash to do so. Nitro Cell through the mirror. Is going to find anything? No. And now playing short on the electrical door is going to be FICO. It's going to close out the round, and he solidifies the first defense for ETS.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie. Are we a little bit surprised at the bans? Because we have a Valk on the board. We have an Azami on the board. We have a Monty on the board.
Yep.
And what is going
Defenders,
on?
protect your bombs from
What
being
is
defused by
going
attackers.
on? I mean, look, I don't know. ETS has won that by the skin of their teeth, to say the least. And I mean, we got a Monty, we got I mean, Mira's able to be utilized. Not that I really see a Mira get banned on this map, but regardless, an Azami, a Valk, and a Monty. Monty's so powerful on this map, especially for taking rafters. I feel like for getting in, and just honestly anywhere. A lot of people, even when I don't know how different ranked is from, you know, leagues and stuff, but typically the Monty will either push through connector or they'll push in through that through rafters. We didn't even see a Monty at all. I'm very surprised. But anyways, that was last round. We're moving into the second, and no Azami, no Valk. We are gonna have a Mira instead. Also, the 2 out off the board doesn't seem that crazy, but I feel like there's definitely better bands.
Again, it's just going to come down to the fact that ETS, they had the first attacking ban, and they just get rid of Deimos. They just don't like Deimos.
Yeah.
They did it on Border as well. They do not like Deimos. And yes, while they did win that first map while giving TMU Blue the ability to bring a Monty on the attack, TMU Blue did not choose to do so. And it ended up being one of the things that I'm going to go ahead and say costed them the bad start on attack. And they clearly haven't learned their lesson because they haven't done it yet again. And I think, like you were saying earlier, Monty is such a powerful operator, especially on a map like Nighthaven Labs, because you can take a lane of offense with a Monty by himself for free. You just have the intel for free. There's nothing that the defenders can do. If they try to push up on you, you can just punch them with the shield, right? Again, you can like learn when to play aggressive and when not to as the Monty. It's just free intel. And again, especially because of the fact that they haven't been able to stop these ETS players on the lurk early enough. We saw, I believe it was Forkies and Wiz who were down below, especially Wiz on the Cade last round, were able to find some impactful picks.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Again, not being able to deal with these roamers, that's something a Monty can just pop in there and do. The Jackal is a good pick for this, but again, hopefully this isn't another mistake being done here by TMU Blue to get a slow start onto their attack.
I'm also surprised that there's not going to be a Ram. I feel like a Ram is great. But anyways, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm thinking too much about who the players are playing and who they're banning and not enough about what's going on in front of me. A minute remaining, mind you, and everybody is alive from either side. It is still a 5v5, a bona fide 5v5. And so with that, let's see who's going to get taken out first. Seems like Otter might be lucky, or he might be unlucky if he's not careful enough. Getting a little bit of pressure is gonna fall back, and with that, it seems like time is continuing to tick down. And yet, not a single push has really been made through. Not sure if TMU are just a little bit slow on the uptake or what's going on. But not only that, wall doesn't even seem to be open. The first person to get down is gonna be Jog, but for however long down he's gonna be, we will find out. 25 seconds on the clock.
I just want to point out that I don't believe there's any vertical holes that are stopping the Mira from playing behind her Mira walls. I hope the Observer catches that at some point, because if the Mira is just available to stay behind this Mira wall the whole time, hello TMU, what are we doing? Instead, they're just going to flood the site now directly. Cash is going to be able to find the first one. The Mira window gets dealt with from just walking out and punching it. Cash with a double. Will this Nitro Cell be able to get threaded through? No, not quite. Winning's going to be able to find the first one. But ETS is going to be able to win the round because nobody got the plant down. Nobody started the plant for the side of TMU. And ETS are going to run away with a round that they really shouldn't have been able to.
What
is going on?
Oh my god.
What is going on?
And I thought they were gonna plant right by that exosuit door. I'm like, this is perfect. They
Right,
ended up getting the
door.
perfect pick as well.
I guess because you're scared of the Nitro Cell from the other side of the Mira, but you have players that are actively challenging that, so you don't have to worry about it.
Attackers have located a bomb.
The exosuit door execute, I mean, like, that would have been great if y'all just started planning. I'm sure they wouldn't have been able to really... I mean, we saw that Buki C4. That Buki C4 they tried to toss, it didn't even end up working out. I'm sure under all that pressure, you know how hard it is to toss C4 with that small little hole? I'm sure, I'm like almost positive
You don't even gotta...
y'all would have been able to get the plant off.
You don't even gotta worry about a player flanking through Nano, because the Mira was in Nano and died from a TMU player. There was a TMU player watching Nano. Like, everything was being watched. I want to watch the round back because I don't know where I went wrong.
But where it went wrong, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, maybe 10 seconds to execute a 5v5 planting
Okay,
the
sure.
bomb.
Yeah. Okay, no. Okay, fine. You called me out there. That is definitely where it went wrong. But
Like, they just took
again,
way too long. Like,
you have
way
to
too
get,
long.
like,
You gotta
what-
figure out what you're doing and, when y'all gotta do it, because we don't got 20 minutes in a round. We got 3. I'm so sorry to tell you. Who's gonna tell him we only got 3 minutes?
You know who would have really sped up that process, though, of clearing everybody from those positions, making sure there are no roamers?
Jackal?
The Monty.
Oh. I was
That
gonna say,
Monty pick
Jackal
would have
doesn't seem to
been-
be doing his job.
I mean, Jackal could rely on a couple scans, but even then, I mean, the fact that they had a Jackal and it still took them that long to clear lurks, I mean, I don't necessarily say that's, like, embarrassing, but I think
It's
the Monty on the other side there, that really could have been the thing that helps TMU. I really do wonder why they are so opposed to playing shield operators on the attacking side. Are they worried that ETS is just going to do it back? I mean, we saw ETS bring a blitz on board. So
Yeah, not only that, but the pulse is off the board as well, and at the hands of TMU. So if they're really scared about stuff like that, I mean, we already have a pulse.
That being said, they're having to peek into these angles that they could just be doing a little more intel on and taking these 50-50 gunfights, and cash is going to go down. So now it's going to be early advantage for ETS. And I really do wonder, with TMU on this map pick, they, again, on the attacking side, I wonder if they're in a little bit too deep here. They've kind of just slowed down a lot, and I'm seeing this happen time after time. Their executes are just coming through so far on this map from the 2 we've seen. They're coming in way too late. And again, I feel like a shield operator would really help in this case scenario. That being said, you know what else would help? It's just a couple of one gunfights going your way. A Siege at the end of the day is a first-person shooter. Naj is going to be able to find the first. And if the Jaeger doesn't drop, or if the Bandit doesn't drop out of this position and gets this pick for free, I don't know what to tell you. The Bandit really should drop. But now it's going to be Otter who finds one onto Naj, and the Otter's just going to ego. He's just going to sit up top here. He's not diving away. If this man gets away with any more, yeah, I was going to say, that is absolutely ridiculous. Otter should be dropping that hatch in that case scenario. Just save yourself that 4v2. Yes, I get you still have man advantage with 25 seconds, but it's still not possible for TMU Blue to pull off a miracle. That being said, it's the same story we've seen again and again, Bianca. TMU are now having to go with a 15 to 10 second execute, depending on when that Thatcher is just going to walk in the window, I believe, or vault through. This is such an awkward area for them. And again,
Look at that, the vert.
the vert. The window is being watched. I mean, it's just all gone wrong. Nitrocell as well, and it wouldn't have even mattered if Forky's gets that pick off. TMU are just not clearing spots, and they are not finding easy ways to execute on site early enough.
Absolutely not. I mean, we did say that Nighthaven was, at least in my opinion, a very defender-sided map. I can see defense coming on top, like, 90% of the time, honestly, but it just seems like this is a little bit overwhelming, and I'm not sure if TMU are really, what is the best case scenario. But I mean, now there's been the full 3 rounds, they're able to go back up to that top floor. Although TMU Blue, I did believe, end up having that advantage that one round, which was this one. I believe it was like a 4v2 or something, in their favor. Yeah, they did end up losing it out. Regardless, this would be a great opportunity to, reevaluate. You guys ended up losing that, and it would be great to bring a set of operators. I mean, like we've mentioned, the Monty being on the board, TMU refuse, and I mean refuse, to bring this Monty. I'm not sure if because Monty is banned so much that teams are kind of starting to basically make strategies without the Monty in mind, thinking that Monty never gets played, or is never on the board and able to be utilized. But regardless, this is why I'm very interested, because I would like to see what ETS is going to bring once they're on the offense. Regardless, though, the round begins, and again, what we're going to see is the Jackal gets popped off. Instead, we're also going to have the IQ to counter that Valk, but despite all these operator swaps, still no Monty.
And while the IQ can spot out Valk cams, what she can't spot out is the footsteps that would reveal that right now, the Valk is actually in the basement of Nighthaven. So, an absolutely insane lurk, and we saw this the first time this happened as well. The Valk was also in the basement. As that connector wall does get opened out from the terrace side, it is going to now be TMU, who need to try to find a foothold onto the site. I really do like that at least they've gotten rid of that mirror, whether it was someone who punched it or maybe an Ash charge that came out. But I also really love this. Wiz has pulled off a play and a half, being able to reinforce that other side of the wall. Now they're going to 100% have to use that thermite charge to open it up. And now that they've seen it, it will get taken free. But you still got to clear an electrical. Instead, they will use the ace charge to do so, but it's muted off as well. Seems like there's going to be no easy way to say this to TMU Blue. They're in a little bit of a sticky situation, even with a minute 40 left remaining.
Yeah, I will say this is probably their fastest execute, so I'm glad that they're, getting fast, going in fast. But it seems like there's a lot of roamers that, need to be dealt with. Regardless of the roamer, it seems like Spike was going to get taken care of along with a cast. We're at a 4v4, even playing field for both teams. And with that, I want to see this execute start to come through, especially from that connector electrical side. Something's got to happen. A C4 might just get ripped as well. But as for that, well, we can leave that in the dust for now. I was curious to see that Kaid, it seems like he's returning back to the site to help out his teammates as the clock begins to tick.
Right, are they aware of the Valk who's just sitting on that catwalk area, can just hold this cross? They now definitely are aware of the Azami, but again, now the Valk is still just doubling up with her, and now Forky's is going to be able to find a double as well. On 8 health, a gunfight that I wouldn't have expected Forky's to probably walk away with, but I didn't see the Observer POV in it, so therefore I will not understand if he had the advantage or not. That being said, Wiz finds another, winning with one on the Munchies, but we're getting down to 25 seconds here. And I get there's no nitro cells left on the board, but now on the side of TMU Blue, we've seen the same thing every round for the past 3. You are simply not being able to clear out quick enough, and because of it, now these attackers are paying the price. The Thermite's just completely sandwiched, can't move anywhere, and TMU Blue's going to request a timeout early, and I will say that decision is not ill-advised.
Yeah, I want to say one thing because I did notice this. They were able to take control of connector very fast. I think this has been the round that they've honestly moved the quickest. But they were
Still.
just at a standstill. They were just at a
Yep.
standstill and they were confused, or I'm not sure really why they were so hesitant on moving forward, but I think that something that will change that situation is a Monty. Like
Yeah,
I
and
said,
I was going to say, sorry, finish your
playing
point, but then I'm
ranked.
going to, yeah.
Yeah, no, playing ranked and just in general watching League, Monty, like I said, very typical. You either use him for rafters or you use him to get in through connector. It's huge. And it happens to me all the time because I like to play mute in connector and just hold it with a shotgun. And it's not, it's not only 1 or 2 times that I'll have a Monty come and push me. No, it's nearly every single time. If they're not taking connector, then they're taking rafters. And if they're not taking rafters, they're taking connector. The difference in that round would have been a Monty.
So here's also what could have happened if they brought that Monty as well. So immediately, Wizzy's going to reinforce that second wall of connector, and because of that, the Selma charges then get mute jammed. There is no utility that the attack can find to get rid of those mute jammers. They do have an Ash though, and that Ash could have been able to go below and take out those mute jammers from beneath in cafeteria. Problem. There was a Cade lurking in cafeteria. And because the Jackal wasn't able to get a foot scan on the Cade, or a Monty wasn't available to just clear out that whole bottom area to make sure that the Ash could go there safely, they didn't want to take the chance. And because they didn't want to take the chance, the Selmas never got used on that connector wall, it never got open, the attack reset, they tried to go for an all-out just catwalk rush, and they got dominated. That is the problem with why I think TMU are struggling. They're not being able to find confirms on roamer positions, and because of that, they're not able to confidently move around the map and take gaps that they want. So again, I really do like this play here from the Glaz and the Maverick. This is something that I do see commonly in ranked when trying to find anything on the wall, but the Mira's not stupid. She knows what's going to be happening here. There's no reason why you peek a Maverick line with a smoke down. You know what that's going to lead to. You have a mirror window. You're just going to sit behind that. And so
We're
on
not
the side of
copyrighted.
exactly, so for on the side of ETS, I will say it's good that I do see that Wiz has gone down above, and finally TMU Blue bring the shield operator, but it's all gonna go wrong because Jog's off the board. FICO as well, so I will say the man advantage in the favor of TMU Blue. But maybe we were right about the connection that you made earlier, Bianca. Maybe they're just not used to running a shield operator on the attack because of the fact that a lot of teams, for the most part, usually aren't. Most of these shield operators are usually banned out. That being said, Blitz isn't as common as the Monty, so I'm still confused as to why Jog's just been able to die as the Blitz, and no one was there to refrag him.
It's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I'm not sure if we're ever gonna get those answers. Regardless, this vert is gonna start to get made. Finally, ETS are gonna be on the back foot, and although they are on the back foot, Otter's going to get a pick on Cash. And not only that, but another one is going to come out, Munchies, to take him out. And with that, we're back to a 2v2. TMU, who did have a one-man advantage, are going to be now put at equal footing with the boys on ETS. And so as about a minute remains in the round, Porky's is leaving his post. It seems like both of them are going to be kind of roaming away. None of them are going to be on the actual side. And I'm going to assume it's because the boys on TMU are not in possession of the bomb. They're going to be looking for this bomb, and so it seems like the boys on ETS are going to basically play bomb, which is the smartest thing to do. The boys on TMU are going to have to either get rid of these operators or quickly grab that bomb and get back down to side with 30 seconds remaining. And I mean, the game seems to be going like this. It doesn't seem like you're going to get much fruit from this tree. Munchies to take them first, and it's going to be up to Winnin, who's going to need a winning mindset if he's going to want to close out this round. And that was an interesting whiff. He's actually going to win that out, and with a 1v1 against Munchies, 10 seconds on the board. He does have the diffuser, but he's really only got one place to go. He's going to be dropping that Animus hatch, and dropping that Animus hatch is what he does. And with almost no time, he's not even going to bother getting that plant down. ETS are going to hide, and, well, walk away with another round win.
You have 3 breaching charges, the Ace does, on the side of TMU Blue. And for some reason, we are allergic, apparently, to using some of those above the mirror window in Nano. I mean, hello, it's been 2 rounds. What is going on right now? Why is the Mira able to just drop back in and just sit in Nano? Again, apologies if I'm getting that incorrect, but if there was the breach on that Nano mirror window, why wasn't the mirror window at least shot out? I mean, again, these are simple things here that TMU is just missing time and time again. And they lose that round because they let Munchies on the lurk find the player in possession with the diffuser. It's just not what you want to see. TMU, I think they're definitely over, you know, they're in their own heads. I think they're just kind of, they've bitten off more than they can chew. And you gotta remember, this is with TMU already using their TAC timeout. That 70% did not kick into play, Bianca. And ETS are just running away with this one.
They're dominating.
They really are.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, look, that 70% statistic, it seems to have not worked for both of the teams. Well, last game was a lot closer for ETS. They just ended up selling. As for TMU, they're not even, I mean, the round wasn't even in their favor to begin with. What I will say, though, is Winnin. It's coming in perhaps through electrical and might just go in with a bang. There he goes. Otter to get taken down. It's going to be 40. He knows that somebody's over by the waterfall, but is he also aware that he might just get pushed by the IQ? He might just end up getting sandwiched if he's not careful. Jog is in a great position along with Winnin, but they also where that FICO is going to be over by top rafters. It seems like Munch is going to take down Winnin, and that's going to be the mystery man gone, done, and dusted. With that, another kill is going to come out actually too on the side of ETS, and it seems like we might just have a 6-0 split, which I'm not sure if I'm really liking those odds. It's going to be unfortunate. Naj and Jog left in a 2v4. However, two of the players on ETS are quite low, so maybe we will see this round turning out in their favor. I mean, look, it is a game where a headshot means everything. So if you're able to hit your heads, then you can get the kill and walk away unscathed. We'll see, though, how well that goes for the boys on TMU Blue as Naj take down Wiz-Flea. Whoops.
Right, and I mean, now a 2v2 effectively is Munchies has actually been down and injured, and now can Nosh find a double? Jog's gonna be able to find one, and all of a sudden, it's a 2v1. Now, both, I will say, TMU players are very low, but now it's gonna have to be to Fico, the man who's clutched out so many times. But Naj is going to be able to pull the round back. TMU find one, and I gotta be honest, I have no clue how ETS let that slip by. I mean, I guess they just peaked recklessly time and time again. They were just going off of ego so often there. And they really sell that considering they had Diffuser on Catwalk. They had 4 people upstairs to help hold it. I mean, yeah, maybe you overcommit to it a little bit, but at the same time, you're in a 4v2 scenario, guys. Just let the timer go down. Make these attackers take gunfights that make you have a bigger probability as a defender to win. But no, that doesn't happen, and because of that, TMU Blue will at least find a round. That being said, they've now nailed one spike into an entire railroad that you would think spans across Canada, because they've got that much work left to do in order to complete their journey of going to map 3.
Well,
I gotta say,
will also say...
sorry, before you go ahead, I think that ETS need to be careful.
5 seconds remaining.
You cannot let TMU Blue get momentum, because the last time that happened on border, they almost ran away with it.
Defuse a bomb.
And I would like to point out, this was probably the most interesting thing for me. I was waiting for the swap. I was waiting for halftime because I wanted to see if ETS was going to utilize the Monty. And they haven't! Both teams opting not to use the Monty, and I'm not sure why. What I'm also surprised is that we don't have an Ash on the side of ETS, especially for walls. Either an Ash or a Zofia able to shoot their charges, basically to get over that breach, but I guess that won't be necessary if you have a Thatcher and a Twitch, which I honestly also didn't take into account, but regardless, no Mira as well for the boys on TMU. Mira, great operator to bring on basically all.
No way.
To say basically all of Nighthaven, but it seems like the Clash might be in a little bit of a bad position if she's not too careful, along with her counterpart Warden, who was there for that tad a little bit of time, but will not be there anymore as he falls back. Also, main breach has been open for quite a while, so the difference in speed when it comes to ETS's offense versus TMU is like night and day.
Absolutely. I gotta say, from the side of TMU, with 1:30 left, they're doing pretty good here, and I really love the Clash pick. No way this Warden gets out there for free. It's gonna be a great job for Munchies to take that. And no, Munchies, don't tell me you can just walk up Command Hall and take the fight to the Scoyo. Munchies, on the door to your right side, surely sees the player peeking out. Pre-fire it again, Munchies. But no, it is going to be now the Goyo on Winnin who has to just try to play this one safer. Works with the shield, but are you kidding me? The potato from Winnin! And because of that now, Naj, even though all alone, at least has maybe a chance in a snowball's chance of hell of still claiming this round. A lot of work to do though, as now the 4v1 ensues. ETS have found their way in, the plant's going down. This could very well be match point. Naj, do you have a C4 in pocket? No, you do not. And because of that, the plant should go down undefended. He walks through the smoke. It's going to be Fico to find the challenge and the kill. I really am just astonished at the fact that, again, on the attacking side, the difference between ETS and TMU Blue, I mean, it was like if you could take a mirror and just find the opposite verb for whatever that is. Mirror image and just completely opposite. Yeah, completely opposite. They were so efficient on timing. They found breaches early. IT breach opened early because for some reason we don't have a bandit.
Bombs.
We're just running a mute.
We have a mute
the
though. We
thermite-
just have a mute though.
So the thermite can just repel onto IT and just place the thermite charge higher than the mute's radius can get, and they just take that IT breach for free.
And
So
I mean, they
then-
have a Kai too. Like, if they're so
Yeah.
worried about, you know.
Look, it is what it is. You can't really focus on the negatives. What I can focus on is the fact that ETS were so effective in that first offensive round.
Ball reinforced.
I really have no way of seeing TMU Blue coming back from this deficit. But, to be fair, I have seen crazier
5
things,
seconds
as I have
left.
seen teams claw their way back from 6-0 down. That being said,
Attackers are moving
Team
out
U
to
Blue,
locate a bomb and defuse
you've
it.
got a long way to go, and I feel like I've said that about 3 times now, so I gotta find something else, because there's gotta be something to work on from TMU Blue, but so far they haven't really given me any chance at having that opportunity.
Yeah, there hasn't been much really to say about TMU other than the fact that it's not going well for them at all. Seems like they're gonna be getting this Animus breach open, however, so at least if they can't get the main one, they are able to get that Animus one open. We are obviously going to see none other than Mr. Turbo, who is going to be trying to trick. He's not going to be able to get that off, so that wall is actually going to be opened up. Both Animus and main breach are going to be open, and for the taking the boys on TMU, and not for TMU, for ETS, which, as I'm saying, the difference in aggression between these two teams on offense is just absolutely ridiculous. However, a 4v3 coming in as the boys on TMU advantage. 2 minutes though in the round. ETS have a lot of time to work with. They're able to drone out and just reposition, or able to kind of figure out what the next execute is without really having to worry too much about a time crunch right now, even despite being down 1 player.
And I will say, the thing about ETS that I don't necessarily like, even though they get that second pick there, which is good, is that they haven't done much work to clear out this vigil on the side of Jog. That being said, I don't know why Mr. Turbo keeps peeking on into this. Sir, keep the 3v3 advantage. There's no reason to lose your life here. You have the timer. ETS already have their avenues in. You can't just give them a pick, because if this bandit dies, they're just going to run into assembly. Jog going to be able to find one onto Forky's, but now they haven't cleared out the vigil. However, it's going to now be Jog who finds the final gunfight. And there you go. It's going to be TMU to take another round. And I think ETS to take another round. Or, sorry,
No, it was
TMU to take
TMU.
another round. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I don't know why I'm getting jumbled on my words. Oh my god, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But now, I can explain the reason why TMU took that round. Sorry, as I'm used to seeing ETS win rounds from this game. Is because of the fact that they were not able to clear out the vigil as I was stating earlier. They were efficient at getting open that Animus breach and that assembly breach, but there was then nothing else that they did. They had no one up top until like the last couple of seconds, which didn't help their case. And that vigil was able to just go undetected. I mean, I believe the player who was even trying to go up top, correct me if I'm wrong, they weren't even looking at the right direction to where the vigil was. Like, I genuinely do not think there was any clue of that vigil upstairs. So, again, I will say, while it was an efficient start to the round, ETS really got stuck there, and TMU Blue, they took pretty good advantage of it. And again, I think that vigil could have been cleared if we just saw a shield operator work up top and do that.
I thought that the vigil was. I thought I saw a vigil by Animus. I'm gonna be so honest.
He was on the second floor rafters for so much longer of the first round, or that round. And as I will say now, it's making his impact known. Jog's gonna be able to find out another pick. But Bianca, I believe that vigil was on catwalk, like the second floor rafters, up until maybe the 30-second mark. I mean, that's got to be dealt with, right? It's just got to be dealt with. So, again, regardless of if the Buck was able to find that pick or not up top, or how that went down, I do think that both teams are having problems clearing out lurking defenders, and it's just from lacks of intel.
Something that, I mean, something that a lot of teams have to honestly, you know, work with sometimes. With that though, TMU are gonna have that 3-man advantage actually, and while this seems really reminiscent of what happened on Border. Oh my god, a flawless round. TMU looking a little bit stronger. The momentum on them is looking great. It's never looked any better. It's match point still. They have absolutely no room to make any mistakes. I will say ETS do have the luxury of losing rounds and not really being too bothered by it. But at what point are you getting worried? I would probably, if they end up losing this round, I would start to get a little bit worried. I'd be like, well, maybe we don't want to, maybe we want to take things a little bit different. We want to
I'm-
change our approach.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Protect your
call
bombs
this right
from
now.
being
If
defused by
ETS
attackers.
doesn't win this round, they call tag timeout. And the reason why, props to the observer for throwing up the round history on that board there on the kill board, or the leaderboard, is they won ETS that second floor bomb site, that command bomb site. And that's why they're trying to make sure that they save their timeout until after this round. Because if they win this round, which they did last time they were at the site, the game's over. There's nothing else to talk about. They win 2-0, they move on to semis. That's it.
10 seconds left.
If they lose this round, they now have to play 2
5 seconds
sites
to insertion.
where TMU were just
Attacker's
absolutely
objective is to locate a bomb and
or
defuse it.
completely dominant on. So, again, for the side of ETS, you attack command, you actually win it, but then you lose the other 2 sites bad. And, again, they're just going to rely on the fact that maybe they can get away with attacking command and coming out with the round again. But if that doesn't happen, TMU could very well just take this round and the next 2 to follow if ETS doesn't, quote-unquote, get their stuff together. And I think for the side of ETS, that tack timeout is very much needed very soon. But we will all see if it comes down into fruition. Again, for TMU, I really like the Clash pick, but what is the Clash doing there? What just happened? Why do you feel the need to put the shield around your back, Mr. Turbo? You can just walk backwards into electrical. I believe there was a second teammate that was watching the window. Fact check me if I'm wrong on that, but there had to be a better way of doing that. I mean, the Clash could have just died there, guys. Like, the Clash could have died there. Again, just the difference between 1 or 2 more shots, and we're getting really close to down but not out territory. So, it's going to be TMU Blue taking a little bit of a risk. For now, it's okay. They get away unscathed, but you gotta really watch it here, because they are, after all, only technically 1 round away from being out of the CCL playoffs.
Yikes. That's definitely not a way that you want to start it as well, especially if it's a 2-0. But as I was saying, seems like somebody might, they're preparing to go in perhaps through that electrical as well. We were talking about the 2 avenues of going in. It seems like the floor is coming in through waterfall, but he might just be on a solo dolo mission actually a lot. Never mind, he's not going to be on a solo dolo. Forky's is going to be there to help him out. TMU, however, are going to be down to players. It's going to be unfortunate with just about a minute remaining. It seems like that floor zone might also help out with droning out any of the operators along with getting rid of any utility that might come their way. Cash holding on. How do you miss that? Oh my god, at least he does end up getting the kills onto Forky's. But, I mean, we got 30 seconds on the board. Cash is going to take 2 before he's taken out by Munchies. Making it a 2v3 and actually scratch at a 1v3 as the boys on TMU are going to be now to 2-man deficit. It's going to be up to Mr. Win, and he's going to have to win out this round unless he's going to be out of the playoffs for the
15 seconds left.
CCL. 10 seconds, it's not looking too good, and, well, it's going to get taken out by a Goyo. Well, he dies to his own. He dies to his own trap. How unfortunate. There's got to be a word for that. But regardless of that word, seems like I
was gonna say, you could say the Goyo dug his own grave there, and I believe that's kind of what TMU did. They really did dig their own grave. I mean, it was a good move on ETS to hold their timeout. Like I said before, they won that command center site. And I believe the first time was because they had established those 2 lanes of offense. What do we see there? they established their 2 lanes of offense, one through catwalk and IT, and the other through command halt. So, again, ETS, they're going to be able to pull away with that one 2-0, as I predicted. I do think TMU looked a little bit better on the defensive side, but again, it's Nighthaven. I expected that. I think starting on the attack on border was just a little bit too much for TMU. I heard the logic was that they wanted to kind of get the difficult part out of the way first, but I really think it would have helped the mental if they started on the defense, being that it was ETS's map pick. They can choose what side they go on first. I really do think that'll come back to bite them, is that they chose to be on the attack first instead of the defense. They could have been up early. They could have been rolling with momentum. We know this TMU team with momentum really does get it going. And it allows you to also play counter to ETS's timeouts, which we've seen. ETS is a good team after their timeout. They really do make the changes necessary to then start winning rounds. So, again, we saw that on border, and it didn't even have to happen on Nighthaven because TMU just dug their own grave so deep to the point where there was no point of return. ETS did a really good job of pointing out their frequent mistakes, I will say, on the attacking side. And that being said, after that, I feel like even with a little bit of momentum going, they were just in too deep. It was just too big of a hill to climb up.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, if you're, so far down, not only do you have to work with, playing against the enemies, but you also have to work with playing against your own mental as well. Being down, especially that far, isn't a game with just your opponents anymore. It's also a game against yourself, how you're feeling. And that's the worst part, honestly. That's why I always say being down 5-1 is so different from being down 4-2, because I think that the mental chalk between the two really make the difference. It's a lot easier to climb back from a 4-2 than it is from a 5-1. And it's unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. TMU made their mistakes, and hopefully later on they'll be able to learn from it. But I definitely think that that offense on border was something. I think that if your offense, especially that offense, I wouldn't mind if your offense was really 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 good and you wanted to go first, but I mean, that offense performance was like that wasn't even really, I don't even want to be rude, but like it just wasn't, like, it was lackluster. Like the ego that you have to pick it first would make you think like, oh, like they're going to have a trick up their sleeve. No. They didn't. It was just about as mediocre as any other offense performance that would have happened. And I definitely think that that's just, look, I get the mindset. And I was literally thinking it. I'm like, what if they chose it just because they wanted to get it out of the way? So that at least, if they ended up winning, they could win on that defense instead of having to try a little bit harder on the offense. But then again, if you start with having to crawl back, it's just not going to work. It's just not, and it didn't. Both maps.
I think very well said. Again, there was just really nothing that I could see happening for the side of TMU Blue. I think it was just too far gone. I do want to know, again, if there's anything like standings wise that we could see, if we could boot up, if there's any updates or anything on matches, on other matches when, I'd like to point those out. If not, that is completely okay, but just waiting on the confirmation for that. Regardless, what I will say, I think TMU, I will give them the credit. They did play well when they were coming back from being down in round count, but again, they just let ETS start off way too hot, and they weren't able to build it back up. When you allow yourself to go down that far, you need almost flawless halves to then climb your way back out of it. And they were putting together good halves, but not flawless. And at the end of the day, that's what they needed to successfully prevail. Couldn't find it happening. That being said, I will say it's been me, Patrick Smoke Chambers, a great first matches of quarterfinals in CCL. Bianca, thank you for joining me on the cast. Any final words?
I guess just on behalf of both Patrick and I, as well as the production and everybody behind CCL, thank you guys so much for watching the stream today. If you are here this first playoff matchup, we will be seeing you guys next week for, I believe it's semis. So hopefully by then it'll be great. We'll be able to see how the teams went and where everybody ended up getting off. But other than that, have a great night, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you hopefully next week for a semi-final game. Bye, guys. Love y'all.